Before watching this video, subscribe to the channel. Press the bell icon for more upcoming videos and be sure to tell us what you think about this video, so we can make our videos even better. Don't forget to like and share the videos to your friends and family. Taxi driver theory test, practice test 4. Question 1. Your passenger is concerned they will miss their flight and become angry. What should you do? A. Point out they hadn't left enough time. B. Tell them you will make up the time. C. Stop and tell them to get out. D. Stay calm and do not react. The correct answer is D. Stay calm and do not react. It is essential that you remain calm during any situation and avoid doing or saying anything that implies you are asking them to leave the vehicle. Act in a confident manner and keep your behavior in proportion to the provocation. You should think about your approach, be aware of warning signs, and think ahead. Show that you are willing to listen. Avoid body language that could inflame the situation, such as pointing of fingers, and inform the school and/or company of any persistent problems. Taxi driver theory test, practice test 4. Question 2. You pick up an adult and a child under 3 years old. You do not have an appropriate child restraint. How should the child be seated? A. Anywhere in the vehicle providing the adult is present. B. In the rear of your vehicle and can be unrestrained. C. They must use the front seat and the adult seat belt. D. On the adult's knee with the seat belt around both of them. The correct answer is B. In the rear of your vehicle and can be unrestrained. It's unreasonable to expect the right child seat or booster to be available in a taxi unless a parent or carer has brought it with them. There's therefore a qualified exception which says that if child restraints aren't available in a licensed taxi or licensed private hire vehicle, a child under 3 years old may travel unrestrained but in the rear only. This is the only exemption for a child under 3 years old. A child aged 3 years and above must use an adult belt in the rear seat only. Taxi driver theory test, practice test 4. Question 3. When you stop at the side of the road, what is the minimum action you should take before allowing your passengers to get out of your vehicle? A. Apply the handbrake and depress the clutch. B. Apply the foot brake and switch off the engine. C. Apply the foot brake and hold the clutch in. D. Apply the handbrake and select neutral. The correct answer is D. Apply the handbrake and select neutral. Stopping at the roadside. All drivers have to stop at the side of the road. But as a taxi driver you have to think of your passengers at all times and ensure that when you stop, your passengers are able to get in or out of your vehicle safely and conveniently. Make sure that you pull up within a reasonable distance of the curb, in a position that's safe, legal and convenient. You apply the handbrake and put the gear into neutral before your passenger opens the door. Your passengers can open the door fully and that their entry or exit isn't blocked by trees or street furniture, lampposts, waste bins, signs, etc. You're there to help if your passenger needs assistance with loading or unloading luggage or they're not able to get in or out without assistance. All your passengers are comfortably seated before moving away. Taxi driver theory test, practice test 4. Question 4. A passenger starts smoking a cigarette in your taxi. What should you do? A. Ask them to stop until they get out. B. Open the front and rear windows slightly. C. Insist they sit in the rear of the vehicle. D. Stop immediately and ask them to get out. The correct answer is A. Ask them to stop until they get out. Smoking in a taxi. Legislation was introduced in April 2007 in Northern Ireland concerning smoking in certain vehicles. This includes smoking in taxis. The law requires any enclosed vehicle used by members of the public, including taxis, to be smoke-free. This means that neither the driver nor the passenger can smoke in a taxi. And taxi vehicles must be smoke-free at all times, even if there are no passengers in the vehicle, or if the vehicle is being driven by a person other than the registered owner, driver, or when the vehicle is being used for personal business by either the registered owner, driver, or any other person. Therefore, you must not smoke in public transport vehicles or in vehicles used for work purposes. You must also display, in a prominent position, no smoking signs and ensure that you are aware of and adhere to all the legal restrictions relating to the type of vehicle you drive. Failure to comply with the legislation can be reported to the Environmental Health Department, who will carry out an investigation on any taxi driver who fails to prevent someone smoking in their vehicle can be prosecuted and fined up to a maximum of £2,500. Anyone found smoking in a taxi can be issued with a £50 fixed penalty notice or be prosecuted and face a fine of up to a maximum of £1,000. Failure to display the correct signage can result in a fixed penalty notice of £200 and if prosecuted carries a fine of up to £1,000. Taxi driver theory test, practice test 4. Question 5. When assisting a wheelchair user out of your taxi via a ramp, what is the safest method? A. Walk forwards with the passenger facing you while holding the armrests. B. Walk backwards pulling the chair holding onto the top handles. C. Walk backwards with the passenger facing you while holding the armrests. D. Walk forwards pushing the chair holding onto the top handles. The correct answer is B. Walk backwards, pulling the chair holding onto the top handles. Ramp and wheelchair fittings. If you have the facility to carry wheelchairs, you must ensure that you are able to correctly load and secure the wheelchair so that the passenger can be transported safely, and then reverse the process at the end of the journey. To load the wheelchair user, you should prepare for your passenger, fit the wheelchair restraint and make space available for the wheelchair. Ensure the door is fully opened and secured. Pull out the ramp and add an extension if necessary. Push the wheelchair user into the vehicle and stow the ramp. If you need to let go of the wheelchair to stow the ramp, make sure you apply the wheelchair brakes. Position the wheelchair so that it can be secured using the equipment provided by the vehicle manufacturer. Ensure that all straps and belts that secure the wheelchair and its user are fastened according to the manufacturer's instructions. Close the door. To unload the wheelchair at the end of the journey, you should open the door fully and secure it. Release the restraining straps and belts. Pull out the ramp and fit the extension if it's needed. If you need to move the wheelchair to do this, make sure you apply the brakes before letting go of the wheelchair. Wheel out the wheelchair. Walk backwards for the safety of your passenger and so that you can retain full control. Remove the ramp and stow any equipment in the appropriate place. Close the door. Taxi driver theory test, practice test 4. Question 6. When carrying passengers, which one of these do you not have to do? A. Get them to their destination on time. B. Treat them courteously. C. Transport them safely. D. Take them on the most efficient route. The correct answer is A. Get them to their destination on time. Caring for your passengers is an important part of taxi driving. As the driver, you're responsible for the safety and comfort of your passengers as they get into and out of your vehicle as well as during the journey. Your job is to convey your passengers to their destination safely, comfortably, efficiently, in a courteous manner. Taxi driver theory test, practice test 4. Question 7. When dealing with passengers who have hearing difficulties, it is important that you A. Don't move off until they understand you, B. Look at them when talking to them, C. Insist that they sit in the front, D. Shout as loudly as you can. The correct answer is B. Look at them when talking to them. People who are deaf or hard of hearing, it is common courtesy to look at people when you speak to them. Just doing that will allow most deaf or hearing impaired people to understand you. Good communication also saves time. Taxi driver theory test, practice test 4. Question 8. A passenger asks you to load their suitcases into the boot. How should you respond? A. Agree, but only if it doesn't delay you. B. Decline, stating that it's not your job. C. Agree and load the items into the boot. D. Decline, but get out and open the boot. The correct answer is C. Agree and load the items into the boot. You are there to help if your passenger needs assistance with loading or unloading luggage. Taxi driver theory test, practice test 4. Question 9. What is the hard shoulder of a motorway for? A. Leaving the motorway. B. Joining the motorway. C. Stopping when you are tired. D. Stopping in an emergency. The correct answer is D. Stopping in an emergency. Don't use the hard shoulder for stopping unless it is an emergency. If you want to stop for any other reason, go to the next exit or service station. Taxi driver theory test, practice test 4. Question 10. You see road signs showing a sharp bend ahead. What should you do? A. Brake gently as you go around the bend, accelerating just before you leave. B. Maintain your speed, steering towards the curb as you go around the bend. C. Accelerate, increasing your speed into and through the bend to maintain stability. D. Slow down before entering the bend and use the accelerator to drive around the bend. The correct answer is D. Slow down before entering the bend and use the accelerator to drive around the bend. Bends. Dealing effectively and safely with bends demands that you look well ahead and try to assess accurately how severe the bend is and at what speed you need to be traveling to negotiate it under control. You should exercise sound judgment and a defensive approach. Where vision is restricted, be prepared to meet oncoming vehicles, obstructions such as broken down or slow-moving vehicles, pedestrians walking on your side of the road. You should use the foot brake to control your speed on approach, choose the right gear for the road speed, use the accelerator carefully, steer to hold the correct line through the bend. Taxi driver theory test, practice test 4. Scenario. Please carefully read the following scenario and then answer questions 11 to 15 which follow. It's a lovely dry day and on the way to your next pickup, while driving at 40 miles per hour. A van stops suddenly in front of you. While en route to the airport along the motorway, one of your wheel trims comes off. After picking up 4 passengers from the airport, you come across a herd of cows with a farmer blocking the country road. Further along the country road, which has no footpath, you encounter a lady pedestrian with a guide dog wearing a white harness waiting to cross the road. You drop the passengers from the airport off one by one. When you drop the last passenger, he refuses to pay the full amount, stating that the others should have paid their part of the fare when they were dropped off. Question 11. What actions should you take when you drop off the last passenger from the airport? A. Take the passenger back to your office and let them sort it. B. Take the passenger to the nearest police station and make a complaint. C. Take his details and report the incident to your manager. D. Refuse to unload his luggage unless he pays the full amount. The correct answer is C. Take his details and report the incident to your manager. Payment of fares. If a passenger refuses to pay their fare, You should not get into a situation where aggression or violence is allowed to develop. Where possible, take the individual's name and address. Note the reasons why they are refusing to make payment and pass this information on to your depot manager so he can take the necessary steps to address the issue. A passenger has a legal obligation to pay a fare providing no extenuating circumstances led to an increase in that fare which were not of their making. Taxi driver theory test, practice test 4. Question 12. Typically, how long will it take you to stop and avoid the van? A. 36 meters, 118 feet. B. 23 meters, 75 feet. C. 53 meters, 175 feet. D. 12 meters, 40 feet. The correct answer is A. 36 meters, 118 feet. Typical stopping distances: 20 miles per hour, 32 kilometers per hour, equals 12 meters, 40 feet, or 3 car lengths. 30 miles per hour, 48 kilometers per hour, equals 23 meters, 75 feet, or 6 car lengths. 40 miles per hour, 64 kilometers per hour, equals 36 meters, 118 feet, or 9 car lengths. 50 miles per hour, 80 kilometers per hour, equals 53 meters, 175 feet, or 13 car lengths. 60 miles per hour, 96 kilometers per hour, equals 73 meters, 240 feet, or 18 car lengths. 70 miles per hour, 112 kilometers per hour, equals 96 meters, 315 feet, or 24 car lengths. Taxi driver theory test, practice test 4. Question 13. What should you do about the wheel trim? A. Stop at the next emergency telephone and arrange for the police to retrieve it. B. Carry on, and once you reach your destination, contact the police giving the location. C. Stop safely on the hard shoulder and retrieve it only if it's safe to do so. D. Leave at the next exit, find a safe place to stop and phone the emergency services. The correct answer is A. Stop at the next emergency telephone and arrange for the police to retrieve it. Obstructions. If anything falls from your vehicle, or any other vehicle, onto the road, stop and retrieve it only if it is safe to do so. Motorways. On a motorway, do not try to remove the obstruction yourself. Stop at the next emergency telephone and call the police. Taxi driver theory test, practice test 4. Question 14. What should you do about the blocked road? A. Stop where you are and switch off the engine. B. Tell him you are late and insist on getting past. C. Sound your horn to move them out of the way. D. Drive through slowly, keeping the revs low. The correct answer is A. Stop where you are and switch off the engine. Other road users. Animals. When passing animals, drive slowly. Give them plenty of room and be ready to stop. Do not scare animals by sounding your horn, revving your engine, or accelerating rapidly once you have passed him. Look out for animals being led, driven or ridden on the road, and take extra care. Keep your speed down at bends and on narrow country roads. If a road is blocked by a herd of animals, stop and switch off your engine until they have left the road. Watch out for animals on unfenced roads. Question 15. As you approach the pedestrian, what should you do? A. Be prepared to stop. B. Wave her across. C. Flash your headlights. D. Sound your horn. The correct answer is A. Be prepared to stop. People with disabilities. Take special care around people with disabilities. Visually impaired people may not be able to see you approaching. They may carry a white cane or use a guide dog. The guide dog has a distinctive loop type of harness. Remember, the dog is trained to wait if there's a vehicle nearby. A person with hearing difficulties isn't easy to identify, so take extra care if a pedestrian fails to look your way as you approach. Remember, they may not be aware of your presence. They may have a guide dog wearing a distinctive yellow or burgundy coat. Those who are deaf and blind may carry a white cane with a red band, or may be using a guide dog with a red and white harness. They may not see or hear instructions or signals.